Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Zid, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about ways to immigrate to the province of Manitoba, whether you have a strong connection in Manitoba such as a relative, a friend, a past study, or a past work experience, or whether you don't have any connection at all. Let's explore this together. Alright guys, so one way to immigrate to the province of Manitoba is through the skilled worker overseas category. So let's take a look at whether you are eligible under this stream. Alright guys, so with the skilled worker overseas, there's only two requirements that you must satisfy in order to be eligible under this category. The first one guys is that you must score at least 60 out of 100 in the points assessment grid. Let me show you how to compute for your score. Before we move on guys, please consider subscribing to my channel, hit the bell, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of the support. Alright guys, so to compute for your points, go straight ahead to this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below, and then find the text where it says points assessment. Now the points assessment grid guys is composed of different factors. The first one is the language proficiency. Now based on your CLB level, you are awarded points for it. For example, you get CLB level 7, then you get 18 points. Now if you don't know what CLB level means guys, then let's take a look at the chart right here. So CLB level means that your reading is 6.0, your writing is 6.0, your listening is 6.0, and your speaking is 6.0. Now back to the points assessment grid. Let's just pull out the calculator right on the side. So we have 18 points right now. And then the second factor guys is the age. So it depends on how old are you right now. If you are between 21 to 45 years old, then your points will be 10 points. So let's add up 10 here. And then the third factor guys is the work experience. So depending on your work experience or the number of years you've been working, so for example, you've been working for 3 years already, then you get 12 points. And let's add up 12 points here. And then the fourth factor guys is education. So for example, if you have graduated with 1 year post-secondary program, then you get 14 points. So let's add up 14 here. And then finally, your adaptability. If for example, you have a close relative in Manitoba, you get 20 points. Just put that right here. And then if for example, you have a friend or a distant relative living in Manitoba, then you get 10 points. So let's say you have a friend, then let's add up here, plus 10 equals 64. Now, since my score is greater than 60 out of 100, then I am eligible for the skilled worker overseas category. Alright, so the second and final criteria guys for the skilled worker overseas is that you must have established a connection to Manitoba through any of the following. The first one guys is close relative. So by close relative they mean a brother or sister, a niece or nephew, first cousin, a mother or father, an aunt or an uncle, a grandmother or a grandfather, and these folks guys must be a permanent resident or a citizen of Canada who is economically established and has been residing in Manitoba for at least 1 year. If you guys don't have a close relative, then how about a friend or a distant relative who is a permanent resident or citizen of Canada and has been residing in Manitoba for at least 1 year? And listen to this guys, this is important, who is not currently supporting the settlement of another applicant through the mpnp. So this one guys is a very good news for those who have distant relative in Manitoba or a friend or looking to have a friend. I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but who knows. So it's true guys that a friend or a distant relative can sponsor you to Manitoba. Now guys, what if you don't have a close relative or a distant relative or a friend in Manitoba, but you have a previous work experience for at least 6 months, then you're good to go. How about guys, if you don't have any of the previous factors that I've mentioned, but you have a post-secondary education of at least 1 year in Manitoba, then you're okay. Finally guys, if you still don't meet any of those criteria, how about an invitation to apply received directly from the mpnp as part of a recruitment mission or after successfully completing an exploratory visit? Alright guys, so now let's talk about the 2 new pathways that will be introduced very soon as new pathways under the skilled worker overseas stream. Just a note guys, as you're watching this video right now, these pathways might already be in effect. If not, regularly check out this link guys to know whether these streams are already in effect. So these two pathways guys are the Manitoba Express Entry Pathway and the Human Capital Pathway. Now let's take a look at the eligibility criteria for the Manitoba Express Entry Pathway. Alright guys, so the next two pathways that I'm gonna be giving the eligibility for are the new pathways under the skilled worker overseas category. So let's start with the Manitoba Express Entry Pathway eligibility criteria. So guys, since this is a subcategory of the skilled worker overseas, then it inherits the requirement from its parent. So what I mean by that guys is that the first and second criteria is going to be the same as that of the skilled worker overseas, and that is number one, you must have 60 over 100 points for the points assessment grid, and number two is that you must have an established connection to Manitoba. The third criteria guys is that you must have an Express Entry profile with a valid Express Entry ID and a job seeker validation code. The fourth criteria guys is for work experience. You must have a minimum 6 months work experience in the following occupations list. Let me show you guys this list. Alright guys, so to know whether your occupation is in the list, just simply go to this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below. And then depending on your occupation, say you're in health occupation, then just click on the health occupations link and say for example you're a pharmacist, NOC code 3131, then your occupation is in the list. Let's find another one. Let's say you're working in the trades and then you are for example a floor covering installer, NOC 7295, then you are okay. So for other occupations guys, simply go through this list right here to determine whether your occupation is in the list. The fifth criteria guys is for language proficiency. Now if your occupation falls under NOC 0 or A, then you must have a minimum CLB level 7 for your IELTS, and if you fall under NOC B, then you must have a minimum CLB level 6. The sixth criteria guys is for education. So you must have completed at least 1 year post-secondary program. So you will have your credential assessed by an assessing body such as WES, and then your report there should show that you have completed a post-secondary program for at least 1 year. For the seventh criteria guys, you must be at least 18 years of age at the time of submission. Moving on to the eighth criteria guys is adaptability. So you guys must demonstrate the ability and intent to become economically established and reside in Manitoba, and have the confirmed support of a close friend or relative who has resided in Manitoba for at least 1 year, or hold a valid invitation to apply issued by the MPNP. Finally guys, the last criteria is going to be the settlement funds. So you must be able to sustain your life in Manitoba with a proof of funds for at least 6-month period. Let me show you guys the table of proof of funds. Alright guys, so to know the settlement funds to provide for your application, simply go to this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below. So as you can see here guys, there's a table that lists the proof of funds, which depends on whether you're applying as a single person, which is 12,669. If you're a family of 2, it's going to be 15,772. Family of 3, that's going to be 19,390. And keep on checking this list guys, because normally the proof of funds is updated every year. This time guys, let's take a look at the eligibility criteria for the Human Capital Pathway. Alright guys, so the second pathway under the skilled worker overseas category is the Human Capital Pathway. And the eligibility criteria for this one guys is the same as the Manitoba Express Entry Pathway, except for two things. Number one, you're not required to have an Express Entry profile, and number two is about the language requirements. So a minimum CLB 7 for regulated occupation, a minimum CLB 6 for compulsory trades, and a minimum CLB 5 for all other NOC codes 0A and B. Alright guys, so now that you know the eligibility criteria, let's move on to the step-by-step process on how to apply under the streams. So the first step guys into submitting your MPNP application is to submit an expression of interest. So guys, similar with Saskatchewan, there is a portal or a website that you must create an account with in order to submit your EOI. So let me guide you guys on how you can create your EOI. Alright guys, to submit your expression of interest, simply go to this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below, and scroll further to the very bottom of this page, and you will see a button here that says apply now. Go ahead and click on it. Then it will take you to the Government of Manitoba login page. Simply put in your username and password and click on the login button. Once logged in, you can start creating your profile by starting with the personal information. Simply click on the Go link right here. And then continue filling out the required information. Complete this form in order for you to submit your expression of interest. Just a tip for you guys, while your expression of interest is active and waiting for an invitation, you can actually continue to improve your score and increase your chances of receiving a letter of advice by doing these two things. So number one is to improve your language score by taking another IELTS test, and number two is to gain more work experience. The second step, guys, is to receive an LAA, also known as Letter of Advice to Apply, which is similar to NOI or Notification of Interest from other provinces. So guys, the highest scoring candidates drawn from the pool will receive a letter of advice to apply via email. So guys, if you don't know how to compute for your score, don't worry, and I will guide you on how to compute for your score. Alright guys, so to compute for your points and see how you rank with other candidates, simply go to this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below. Right now, one question that you might have in mind, guys, is what is the difference between this one and the points assessment grid that we had a while ago? Well, the answer to that, guys, is it's just the same. The only difference is the amount of points given for each of these factors. Okay, so now let's compute for our points. So factor 1 is language proficiency. If, for example, you have CLB level 7, then you get 22 points per band. Let's just pull up the calculator right here on the side. So we have 22 times 4, then that's 88 points. Now for the second factor, which is age, if you are between 21 to 45, you get 75 points, so plus 75. And then the third factor is work experience. If you've been working, say, for 2 years, then you have 50 points, so plus 50. And then the fourth factor, guys, is education. If you have like one year post-secondary program, then you have 70 points, so that's 70. And then for factor 5, guys, is adaptability. So for example, you have a close relative in Manitoba, you get 200 points. And for example, you have an ongoing employment in Manitoba for 6 months or more, then you have 500 points. And take note, guys, that there is another factor called the risk assessment that can reduce your total points. So that is, if you have a work experience in another province, you have minus 100 points. If you have a studies in another province, then you get negative 100 points. So right now, guys, the total points we have is 895. Now let's take a look at the most recent draw, which was held on July 18, 2019, which is draw number 70. So under skilled worker overseas, the ranking score of lowest ranked candidate invited was 718. So guys, keep checking on this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below, because the next draw is going to be posted on September 11th, 2019. Now going back to our ranking score, which is 895. So since our score is greater than 718, then definitely we are going to get a letter of advice to apply, or LAA. Now guys, when you receive the LAA or letter of advice to apply, you will have 60 days to submit a complete application through the same account you used to submit your EOI. So you need to scan the following documents and submit them online. The first one is going to be your birth certificate. The second document that you have to submit, guys, is the copy of pages showing your personal information, expiry and renewal dates of your passport. The third one, guys, is your marriage certificate. You must have a common law partnership of at least 1 year. The fourth one, guys, is your degree or diploma and transcripts, and take note that it must be in English or French. The fifth is your reference letter or your employment letter, and this must be written on a company letterhead, must be signed by a company representative, and you have to mention the start and end dates of employment and the detailed description of position and duties, and also the salary. The sixth one, guys, is going to be your IELTS report. The seventh is your settlement funds, so 12,300 Canadian dollars for one person, 15,312 for two, and 18,825 for three, and so on and so forth. The last one, guys, is the settlement plan. So let me show you guys how to create your settlement plan. So here is the settlement plan that you must submit along with your application, guys. If you want to get this plan, simply go to this link right here, or you can find this link on the description box below. So simply fill out all of the required information and bring this or attach this along with your application online. The very final step, guys, is to submit your application for permanent residence through the Federal Express Entry system. So guys, once you receive the nomination, you will automatically get additional 600 points for which you can submit your application for Federal Express Entry. Now, what if you guys don't have any connection in Manitoba at all, but you're working or willing to gain experience in the following occupations? We have chefs, carpenters, plumbers, and welders. Then your best option is to immigrate to the province of Manitoba through Morden immigration. Let's take a look at the step-by-step process on how to apply for Morden immigration. So the first step, guys, to applying for Morden immigration is to determine your eligibility. Let me show you guys how to do it. Alright guys, so in this link right here, which you can also find in the description box below, the eligibility criteria for welders and carpenters is that you must have at least 2 years of recent work experience in welding and commercial residential carpentry. You must be between ages 21 and 45, and so on and so forth. And guys, for all other occupations, here is the list of the requirements. The second step, guys, is to send your application. So guys, you just have to fill out the Morden Community Driven Immigration Initiative form and email it to info@mordenimmigration.com. Let me show you guys how you can do this. Alright guys, so to download the form, simply go to this link, which you can also find in the description box below. So simply download this form and then fill it out and scan it, and then send it back to info@mordenimmigration.com. For the third step, guys, if you are chosen, you will be given an invitation to come for an exploratory visit. During your exploratory visit, guys, you will research Morden and prepare for your interview with an MPNP officer at the end of your visit. And then if after the interview with the MPNP officer, he or she deems that you are a good fit, then you will be given an invitation to apply for MPNP. The fourth step, guys, is to apply online. So after you return home from your exploratory visit, you can apply online for MPNP or Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. The very final step, guys, for Morden immigration is to submit your application for permanent residence through Federal Express Entry system. So once you receive the nomination, you will automatically get additional 600 points, and for which you can submit your application for Federal Express Entry. So congratulations, guys! Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please smash that red button, hit the bell, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you again in my next video, guys. Good luck!